Morning.
Morning.
All right, let's have the bad news. Oh, dear God, not the Motoring Association.
I'm afraid so.
When?
This morning. Magistrates Court, 10 o'clock. One speeding, one careless driving, one obstruction.
Oh, well, I can't possibly. I'm due at Darlington at 11:30. Better let Mr. Ellis have them.
Mr. Ellis has got the Railton divorce.
Why on earth we ever agreed to act for the Motoring Association?
They did ring yesterday morning.
Hours and hours in a magistrate's court, all for a lousy £4 a time.
You always say that. Anyway, it won't be hours. They're all pleading guilty.
Oh, I should bloody well hope so. Otherwise it would take all day. Well, I can't go.
Somebody has to.
Yes, I know that. Let me think.
How about Mr. Field, a Field and Hunter?
No, he wouldn't do it. Besides, I happen to know he's in the county court all day. Oh, wait a minute, though. Harriet Peterson's got a brief from him. Get a clerk.
But if she's in the county court, you
Yes, but she's on his second case, and that's not before 2 o'clock. Now, if Harriet's here already, that means she'll have nothing else to do. £12 is always £12.
Ellis and Stokes.
Besides, it never hurts a barrister to do a solicitor a favour. Hello? Miss Peterson's clerk? I know this is a dreadful thing to ask, but, I've got 3 pleas of guilty this morning and no one to do them. I wonder if Miss Peterson would oblige. Miss Peterson, this is really very good of you.
Not at all. What have we got?
Well, it's all here. 1 speeding, 1 careless driving, 1 obstruction. All pleas of guilty. This is Mrs. Purvis, careless driving, and Mr. Pottinger, obstruction. Miss Peterson will look after you, and I promise it won't hurt one little bit.
So what about the other one, Miller?
Oh, he'll be along, racing through the golden morning.
Well, let's hope he isn't speeding.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, Mr. Pottinger, let's see what we can do for you. It'll all go very quickly. I'll see what I can do with the speech in mitigation. That means tell the magistrates what a good driver you've been in the past and so on. Excuse me a moment. Are you Mr. Miller, by any chance?
Yes, miss.
My name's Peterson. I'm representing you.
Oh.
You've left it a little late.
Well, we got lost, miss, and I didn't want to take any chances not with this lot hanging over me.
Shall we go into court and sit down, and we can run through your statement?
Oh, allow me, Miss Peterson.
Thank you. It's all quite simple. Guilty pleas never take long.
Beg your pardon, miss?
I said guilty pleas never take long.
I'm not.
Not what?
Guilty, miss. So why should I plead guilty?
But you already have, Mr. Miller, here on this form.
Oh, I'm not talking about any forms.
You're talking about this one. You filled it in yourself. Do you intend to plead guilty or not guilty? Answer guilty. And then you signed it. Robert Arthur Miller. That is your signature.
Well, yes, miss, but I rang the Motoring Association after I sent that off, and I told them I wasn't guilty.
It isn't down here.
Well, they said they'd informed the police, and they told me to tell, you.
Then you better tell me quickly, Mr. Miller. The court's late in sitting as it is.
Well, when I was nicked, I was doing 68 miles an hour. I can prove it.
Mr. Miller, what is this all about?
Well, see, the thing is, I've been done for speeding twice already, and if I get done again, I can lose my license.
Probably. But are you now changing your plea in order to avoid a third conviction?
Oh, no, miss.
Why did you plead guilty in the first place?
Well, because my mates told me if I pleaded guilty, the court might let me off lightly.
They were right. Why have you changed your mind?
Oh, because I didn't do it. I couldn't have done. So I should let those bloody blue bottles get away with it.
I should call them police if I were you, Mr. Miller. The bench prefer it.
Oh, sorry, miss, but I mean it.
All right, you mean it. But it puts me in a very awkward position. I only agreed to take these cases on the understanding you all pleaded guilty.
Does that mean you can't defend me, miss?
No, it doesn't. You can't. Stand up.
I must apologise for our late beginning today. My car, for some reason, refused to start. You must excuse us both. Yes, Mr. Roxley?
One drunk and disorderly, Your Worship. He's pleading guilty, if we might take that first.
Very well.
John William Irwin.
John William Irwin. Up you go, Dad.
John William Irwin, you are charged that on Friday, 11th of April, you were found to be drunk and disorderly in the High Street.
Is it your own car?
Yes, miss. I got a mileage allowance.
And you say you couldn't have done it?
That's right.
By that you mean you couldn't have been driving at 75 to 83 miles an hour on the M87.
Right.
And you can prove it?
Right again.
How?
I've got an engine knock. I've had it for weeks. If I do more than 68 miles an hour, that car of mine makes a noise as loud as a jumbo jet, and there wasn't any noise.
I see. Was anybody with you in the car?
No, miss.
Did you mention this knock to the police?
Well, it never occurred to me, but it's true. I mean, all you got to do is drive the bloody thing yourself, and you can... I'm sorry.
Never mind the knock for the moment. Tell me what happened when the police stopped you.
My road's still down in there.
Forget about this. Just tell me.
All right. I was on my way up to Northumberland on the M87.
Alone.
I told you. I was in the middle lane doing 65, and I noticed a police car behind me, a Triumph. Well, just then, a white Lancia went past in the outside lane, and he was really moving, so the police Triumph took off after him, and I thought, well, that's that. Except that 3 miles further on, another police car stopped me and told me that the Triumph had reported me for speeding as well, only I wasn't. I mean, there wasn't any sign of a knock.
4 to 1. 2 of them followed you, 2 of them stopped you.
I'm sorry, miss?
Blue bottles, Mr. Miller?
Well, I've just
it's
told
your
you.
word against theirs. Come on, and get rid of that.
Now go and pay your fine. The cashier's office is down there. You should know where it is by now.
Call Thomas Arnold Pottinger.
Thomas Arnold Pottinger. Oh, you're, get inside then. Oh, you're motoring, aren't you? Oh, this way, sir.
Thomas Arnold Pottinger, you are summoned that on Wednesday, the 9th of February, at Shelton, in the county of...
With your explanation, we feel we need more information. You'll be remanded in custody for a
Charles
week.
Edward
for
Burnett,
medical report.
you are summoned that on Friday, February the 4th, at Bury Heath, in the county...
Of course, you didn't mean to cause all this trouble, but the fact remains that you have. We're going to fine you £50. Do you need time to pay?
Mr. Roxley.
Yes, Miss Peterson.
We're running a little late.
I'm sorry about that. I'm afraid our police inspector does rather take his time. Can I help?
I'd be very grateful. I'm due in the county court at 2 o'clock.
Oh, I see. You're doing the Motoring Association cases?
Yes.
Well, let's see. We've done 1 so far. That leaves 2. Why, both guilty. We can take them next.
One of them, Mr. Miller, insists on a change of plea. Not guilty, I'm afraid.
Well, can we hear it today? Have the police witnesses been notified?
I understand so.
Oh, dear. I'm afraid this bench always takes guilty pleas first. Always. It's a fixed rule. I could put your guilty forward if that would help.
You're very kind. Mrs. Purvis has been driving for 17 years, Your Worships, and this is her first offence. She has expressed her contrition and assures you it will not occur again. I ask you to deal leniently with her.
Field and Hunter.
Mr. Field, please.
I'm sorry, he's out to lunch. Who's calling?
Miss Peterson.
Oh, yes, Miss Peterson.
Can you tell me where he's lunching?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
Where does he usually lunch?
Well, there's a little restaurant just around the corner from the courts. He may be there.
All right, thank you very much. Goodbye.
We're just about on.
Too late, I'm afraid. I'll have to ask for an adjournment.
Robert Arthur Miller. Robert Arthur Miller, this way, sir. Robert Arthur Miller. Robert Arthur Miller, you are summoned that on Monday, the 7th of February, on the M87 motorway in the area...
Please, not guilty, Your Worships.
Very well, Miss Peterson.
It would be of great assistance to me if I might ask for an adjournment, Your Worships.
An adjournment?
I had been given to understand that all my cases this morning were going to be pleas of guilty. I'm due to appear in the county court at 2 o'clock. Under the circumstances, I should be extremely obliged to Your Worships if the case could be adjourned.
I see. Mr. Roxley. Miss Peterson.
Sir?
I've listened to your request with some sympathy, but unfortunately there are administrative reasons why this case cannot be put back. As a result, we feel reluctantly we cannot comply with your request. I'm afraid the best we can do is to curtail our luncheon, so we'll rise at 1:45 and sit again at past. I really am sorry, Miss Peterson.
I understand, sir.
Inspector Graham.
The facts in this case are quite simple, Your Worships. Sergeant Barker and Police Constable Dean were patrolling a stretch of the M87 near Heathfield. I have a map of it here. It'll help to make it clearer. They were passed by a white Lancia. Unfortunately, because of the obstruction of the defendant and the fact that the Lancia was doing well over 90 miles per hour...
I understand you to say the defendant deliberately obstructed the police inspector?
No, sir, not deliberately. It was just in the way, and they lost the Lancia.
I see.
But they had observed the speed of the defendant. Over some 7/10 of a mile, his speed varied between 75 and 83 miles per hour. I call Sergeant Barker.
After lunch, I think, don't you? We'll sit again at 1:30.
The court will rise.
What now, miss?
I'll have to get you somebody else. The trouble is, I have a case in the county court this afternoon, and I can't be in 2 places at once.
But you're the one I want.
It won't make all that much difference.
I don't believe that. Please, miss.
I'll do the best I can for you.
Oh, there's only me, I'm afraid, Miss Peterson. And I wouldn't be if I wasn't on a diet. Awful stuff this is.
When will Mr. Stokes be back?
Darlington's an all-day job.
Can you reach him?
Oh, I doubt it. He'll be on the move all day.
Mr. Ellis?
He's got a divorce. He'll be out to lunch now. Lucky thing.
Your managing clerk, then. Can't he get hold of somebody?
Oh, he's been off 3 days with flu.
I must have someone to take over the Miller case. Can you arrange something with another firm of solicitors?
Oh, no, Miss Peterson. I haven't got the authority to do that. I'm awfully sorry.
Mr. Field, how are you?
Well, I'm not complaining, Miss Peterson. Well, you're having a good time. I'll get you something.
Oh, no, thank you.
Well, you should have something, you know, just to keep you going. Well, not that I anticipate all that much trouble. Not a bad brief, if I say so myself.
The brief's very good indeed.
Thank you.
The trouble is, I'm going to have difficulty in doing it.
I don't understand you, Miss Peterson.
Mr. Field, I took some motoring cases this morning to help out a colleague of yours, Mr. Stokes. 3 pleas of guilty. Only one of them changed his mind. The case is still being heard, and I'm due back in the magistrate's court at 1:30. I've tried for an adjournment, they won't grant it, and I can't find anyone to authorize a replacement.
What about your clerk? I mean, hasn't he got you covered by another counsel?
It should only have taken half an hour.
Are you telling me that you can't be in the county court at 2 o'clock?
I'm not twins, Mr. Field.
But I briefed you weeks ago.
I am aware of that.
And this poor fellow Ramsey, he's relying on you. Wrongful dismissal. We're talking about a man's life.
I am aware of that, too.
And you tell me you're deliberately turning this down just to defend a chap for speeding or something?
I'm not saying I want to, I'm saying I have to.
Bob, it can't be that bad.
Can't it? You know this game, love. One slip and you're out.
It's just speeding.
Yeah, just. Except that I've been done for speeding twice already. If I get done again, I could lose my license. Then what do I do?
Did you tell Miss Peterson that?
Yeah, of course I told her. I also told her about the knock. That's what's important.
But that only happened last week.
No, Patsy. You're wrong. That is since January.
Be careful, Bob.
I've got to keep my license.
Why don't you let me speak up for you?
No, no, love. I'm in enough trouble. Thanks anyway. Be in even more trouble if she doesn't turn up this afternoon.
And how much is this motoring chap paying you, Miss Peterson?
You're being offensive, Mr. Field.
I don't think so. You've let me down. I marked your brief at £120, remember? And that's not bad for a day and a half in the county court.
This is a motoring association case.
£4. You'd take £4 instead of 120.
Don't you understand? I have no choice.
And what choice are you giving me? Where can I get another counsel now? And even if I could, when could he read the brief? This isn't one of your motoring cases, you know.
Can't you ask for an adjournment?
How can I? I don't have a gown.
The usher will lend you a gown.
This is a collar-attached shirt. I need to wear a wing collar.
Go and buy a shirt and collar. I'll pay for them.
I haven't got any bands.
I'll lend you some.
Look, I'm hopeless in court. You know that.
For heaven's sake, it's only to ask for an adjournment. Mr. Field, it's the only chance we've got. Oh, Lord.
Just a minute, Miss Peterson. I want you to realize that I am far from satisfied. Very far from satisfied.
Now, Sergeant, let us consider the speed you allege Mr. Miller was doing. 75 to 83 miles an hour, I think you said?
Yes, miss.
For 7/10 of a mile?
That's correct, miss.
Did the car have any difficulty maintaining that speed?
No, miss.
Indeed. Would it surprise you to learn that Mr. Miller's car has a pronounced engine knock at any speed in excess of 68 miles an hour?
An adjournment?
I'd be obliged, Your Honor.
No doubt. But that isn't the point. Why, Mr. Field?
Counsel, Miss Peterson, has been unavoidably detained in another court. Your Honor.
Unavoidably? I hardly think so. This case was fixed for 2 o'clock to suit Miss Peterson's convenience. It's her duty to be here, now.
Your Honor, I'm as distressed as you are.
Yes, I'm prepared to believe that. But even so, I'll put this case back until 3 o'clock, but not a minute more. Our list is too full to wait until counsel deign to honor us with their presence. After that, you must manage on your own, Mr. Field.
Your Honor.
And you say you cautioned the defendant in the proper manner?
Yes, miss.
Mr. Miller has no recollection of it.
He seemed a bit flustered, miss.
In your experience, aren't motorists often flustered when gonged and questioned by the police?
Please answer the question, officer.
It happens sometimes, yes.
Only sometimes?
Well, quite often, miss.
Now, the statement Mr. Miller made. May we hear it again, please?
He said, "Oh, Christ, I thought they were after that bloody Lancia."
Which, in fact, they were. No further questions.
Just a couple of points, officer.
I'm sorry, I must go.
But you can't. Not now. I mean, the case isn't over yet.
They've heard all the witnesses, you've given your evidence, they've retired to consider their verdict. I can't stay to do any more.
What happens if they find me guilty? Who's going to speak for me?
You'll have to do it yourself.
You were paid to defend me.
Mr. Miller, I took your case because you pleaded guilty on the form. That's 10 minutes of my time. You've had 3.5 hours. In another court, a man is waiting for me whose whole livelihood is at stake, and he has no one to speak for him. Honor, I'm extremely sorry.
No doubt.
If I might ask for 2 minutes to put on my gown and wig.
We have endured your absence for 1 hour, Miss Peterson. 2 more minutes will make very little difference.
Robert Arthur Miller. We have listened with great care to the evidence. We find the case proved. As to sentence, you'll pay a fine of £20. Has he a clear license?
No, sir. 2 previous endorsements.
I see. We'd better have a word, Mr. Roxley.
Before you begin, Miss Peterson, there are some remarks I must make about your conduct.
Your Honor.
This court has never in the past subjected itself to the whims of counsel, and it is not my intention that it shall begin now.
If I might explain, Your Honor.
Do not interrupt me, Miss Peterson. Your instructing solicitor has already given me your explanation, and I do not find it acceptable. To take another case so close to this one was inexcusable and purely venal. You might have put your client here in the gravest jeopardy, and for that there can be no excuse.
As Your Honor pleases.
You may begin, Miss Peterson.
As you will see from the particulars of claim, Your Honor, my client Thomas Owen Ramsay was summarily dismissed after what we admit was a row between himself and the general manager.
Hello?
You're back early, Bob?
Yeah. Nice change. Are you going to give us a kiss?
Got my rubber gloves on.
Story of our lives, isn't it?
You've been drinking.
That's right. Kids in bed?
Half an hour ago.
Well, I'm going to drink some more. We both are.
You shouldn't, Bob. You know you shouldn't.
No. We should. Yeah.
You know I don't like it.
I think you better try. And take those bloody gloves off.
What's the matter, Bob?
What shall be the matter? I just fancied a drink with you.
You're drinking. It worries me.
Why?
Oh, not here. I don't mean that. It's nice when you have a drink here. I mean, you're not all that much at home, are you?
That's very funny. Do you know that's very...
No, don't laugh at me, Bob. I'm serious. I don't like you drinking when you're away. It gets you into trouble.
What the kind, I mean?
What else would I mean?
You're telling it, love?
All right, then, women too. Well, I know you don't mean it, but when you've had a few, you...
What?
You forget.
Forget what?
Me, the kids.
Oh, well, that's all finished. I told you, love, you've no need to worry about that anymore. Or the car. I'll tell you why. I haven't got a car.
Don't talk daft.
Have a look out the back. Go on, Audrey, have a look out the back. Where's the car, then? See the car?
You've had an accident.
No, love. Sold it.
So,
Not a bad price, either. $4.50.
I don't believe you.
Don't you? Here you are, my love. There's a cheque.
Well, have you gone mad or something? If you don't have a car, you can't have a job.
I know that, love.
What do you mean?
Oh, come on, Audrey, you're not that daft.
You've been fired.
We didn't get that far. I resigned.
But
Because I've been done for speeding and they've stopped me bloody licence for 6 months, that's why.
Oh, my God. Bob, love, why didn't you tell me?
Because it wasn't true. Honestly, it wasn't, and I thought I could prove it. I was sure I could, so why should I bother you?
Why didn't you get a lawyer?
Yeah. The Motoring Association got me a lawyer.
But we lost.
After all that?
After all that. I don't think Miller was telling the truth, mind you. At least not the complete truth. And the police were so damn sure.
What does Miller say about that?
They lost the Lancia. They decided to have him instead.
Do you believe that?
I don't know. It's possible. What I do know is I'm in trouble because of you, Mr. Stokes.
Trouble?
If Miller reports me to the Bar Council, it could be serious. I had to leave before the end of the case.
Honestly, I had no idea.
Of course you hadn't any more than I had. That doesn't alter the fact that I was very nearly late at the county court, got a broadside from the judge, and probably lost a solicitor.
Field.
Who else?
The old man found against you.
No. No, we won't finish until tomorrow, but Field found against me, all right.
Well, all I can say is that we haven't, Miss Peterson. In fact, we are very much in your debt, and we honor our debts.
I'm relieved to hear it. I don't like being called a money grubber, you know.
The judge said that?
The word he used was venal.
I'm dreadfully sorry.
So, she said, I'm sorry. And off she popped.
Rotten bitch.
Maybe. You should have heard her in court, though, love. She was bloody good while she was there. She certainly knew what she was doing. In more ways than one.
Now, wait, Bob.
Oh, God.
Wait, I said, and it's all I said.
Oh, what?
You sure you didn't do it?
I swear
Why don't you go and see her?
It's all over, love. They
She
found me
walked
guilty.
out on you this morning. She owes you something. Why don't you get her to appeal?
At her price? What do we use for loot?
What you got for the car?
That's all we've got to
Wouldn't
live on.
take all of it. Listen, if you don't get your license back, I'm going to have to go out to work and leave you looking after the kids. Is that what you want?
No, of course not.
Well, it's what you're going to get if you don't appeal.
It's a hell of a gamble, Audrey.
Well, you're the one that backs the horses. Anyway, you might get costs. Come on, love, let's think about it.
I find that the defendant had no justification for summarily dismissing the plaintiff, and the claim therefore succeeds. I have heard evidence of means and of how long the plaintiff has been out of work, and taking all those factors into account, I award the sum of £600 damages and costs under Scale 3.
The court will rise.
Well, congratulations.
I'm
satisfied.
Thank you, Mr. Congratulations.
Very nice indeed, Miss Peterson.
Thank you.
Mind you, after the way Judge went for you yesterday, I'm surprised you didn't go to pieces.
I'm rather surprised myself.
Still, all's well that ends well, as they say.
I take it I'm forgiven then.
Of course. Why don't you come out and have a bit of supper with us tonight? My wife would love to meet you. A bit of a celebration.
Thank you.
I'll pick you up around 7 at the hotel. Right. Oh, excuse me now, won't you? I better have a word with Ramsay before he spends all his money.
Excuse me, Miss Peterson.
Mr. Miller?
Have you a moment, please, miss?
Of course.
You heard what happened?
Yes.
You got this fella better deal than I got.
I did the best I could in the time available, Mr. Miller.
Oh, yes, certainly. I'm not disputing that. Would you like a cigarette, miss?
No, thank you.
Do you mind if I do?
No.
Well, this is a bit difficult. I mean, I was rude to you the last time.
We were both under pressure.
Yeah, pressure. Well, it was my job, you see.
Of course. You're a commercial traveller, aren't you?
Well, I was, anyway, only we call them sales representatives.
Here, use this.
Thank you. I'm with what they call a commando sales force.
Commander?
Yeah. They're not kidding either. Brutal it is. Sell or get out. Make 12 calls a day. Be sure you sell when you get there, or else.
Sounds frightening.
Oh, it can be. But it's exciting, too. I mean, God, it must be. What would I have done it for? 11 years I was at it, Miss Peterson. Some of them don't last 5, and now I'm out.
You've lost your job?
My firm's got a fixed rule, 1 disqualification, and that's it. But if I could get my license back...
Mr. Miller...
I want to appeal, Miss Peterson. I want you to appeal for me.
You'd be making a big mistake.
But I didn't do it, and I need my job.
On the evidence presented, you'd only lose again.
You disappoint me, miss. I thought you'd want to help me.
You weren't the easiest of clients, Mr. Miller. Thank you.
I could be.
I don't believe that for a moment.
Well, can I ask, why would I lose again?
Your word against theirs. My advice is not to waste your money.
Look, give me 5 minutes, miss. Please, just 5 minutes. Is that too much to ask?
Very well. 5 minutes, usher, please.
Thank you. My wife, she's been marvellous about this. I don't just mean she's gone back to work. She's been understanding, all that.
I'm glad to hear it, but I don't see...
Oh, it is relevant, believe me. You see, we've had our troubles.
You mean other women?
Yes, other women. Oh, I don't know. You go on the road too long, you go stark raving mad. Take what I was flogging. Brash.
I beg your pardon?
Men's toiletries.
Ah.
Be a brash man. Aftershave, talc, deodorant, cologne, you go about lathered in the stuff.
Really?
It's all you talk about all day and night to a bunch of old chemists that don't want to listen anyway, so at night all you want is a woman, any woman. Well, just to talk to her. And your wife's 100 miles away. I don't suppose you ever met anybody like that.
On the contrary, I know someone exactly like that.
Well, I feel sorry for him. We all behave like bloody fools. I did anyway. I'm over it now, mind you. Except,
Go on.
there was somebody in the car with me.
I see.
Well, she's a colleague, really, and that's all. Now. But if my wife was to hear...
Did you tell your colleague about the knock?
Yes, I did. And there's another thing, too. That copper that charged me, Snell.
What about him?
He didn't read out all my statement. I told him about the knock, too.
But you told me you never mentioned it to anyone.
I was afraid that if I made too much of a song and dance of it, it would come out about Patsy being in the car with me.
If you appeal, she'll have to give evidence.
Yes, I know.
So you better tell your wife.
Does that mean you'll help?
First, you must see your solicitor.
I've got one.
Oh, yes, you have. He represents the Motoring Association. His name is Stopes.
It'll cost me, won't it?
Yes.
Oh, well. The best always does. See you in court, then.
Did you say how much?
No, I don't think she's allowed to. That's all up to the solicitor.
But she reckons you've got a good case.
She does now, yeah.
What do you mean now?
Well, after we had a chance to talk it all out. In the magistrate's court, you see, it was all such a rush that I didn't tell her half the things I should have done.
What things?
Well, we talked about you. I told her how marvellous you'd been.
That was nice of you, Bob.
No, I mean it.
I've got my gloves on.
It's all right, it doesn't matter.
You better tell me, Bob. It's something bad, isn't it?
No. No, it's not bad. I had a girl with me in the car.
What girl?
Patsy. Now, please, Audrey, just let me explain.
All you've been through, all you promised.
I was...
Last night you made love to me and I let you, and all the time you've been going with, you'd probably just come from.
Audrey, will you listen to
What?
me? I was giving her a lift, and that's all.
She hasn't got a car of her own, I
Yes,
suppose.
she has, but it broke down outside Morpeth. She had it repaired there. I was driving her back to pick it up.
Well, why you? Why couldn't it have been somebody else?
Because the sales manager told me to. Anyway, I had some display card. Oh, what's the use?
If that's all there was to it, why didn't you tell me all this before?
Because we'd still be in the same mess. You still wouldn't believe me. Oh, it's no good, Audrey. I can't live like this.
Well, you just have to.
I've told...
It's the way I live.
I've done nothing.
Would have to be that one, wouldn't it?
Oh, I know what you're thinking.
I'm thinking I'm afraid, Bob. I'm afraid of her. I didn't like your pickups. But I wasn't afraid of them.
Look, Audrey, you've got no reason.
Haven't I? She's a lot like I was before I had your kids.
Living it up, aren't we?
The condemned man ate a very hearty meal.
Oh, is it that bad?
Well, we'll know tomorrow when we go and see Stubbs.
What will I have to say?
Well, the engine knock. You haven't forgotten about the engine knock.
Of course not.
What did I tell you about the engine knock?
Now let me see. You said that if you took the car above 68, it made a noise like a jumbo jet.
That's my girl.
I've missed you, Bob.
You get your story straight, and I'll be back. Full time.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, your friend Miller's appeal should be coming up soon. Tell me, what do you make of him?
Miller, the maligned, the motorist, all righteous indignation.
So I should hope, if he's telling the truth.
Ah. Have you tried to shake him?
Yes, but I didn't succeed.
You don't like him, do you?
Well, he's a pleaser. I suppose we all are in a way, but he works at it, you know, all that conscious charm.
You get used to it, you know. In fact, the time comes when you don't even realize it's happening. What about the girl?
He's bringing her in to see me tomorrow.
And his car?
I shall have to chase that up tomorrow, too.
Yes?
Mr. Rutter?
Ah, that's me.
Oh, my name's Stopes, Ellis & Stopes Solicitors.
Insurance?
No, this is about a car you purchased from a Mr. Miller about a month ago, a black Zodiac.
Oh, well, you better take a seat and I'll have a look for you.
Thank you.
Oh, hi, Mr. Miller. WEV 415F. Oh, a nice, clean car.
Do you still have it?
No, we don't keep them all that long, Mr. Stopes.
You sold it locally?
Why are you asking?
Well, its previous owner was accused of speeding, and we're alleging that that was hardly possible.
Oh, I see. Well, I'll tell you, Mr. Stopes, this was a nice, clean car, like I said. But it was a rep's car, and we don't go much on them.
Oh? Why not?
I got a nice business here. Same people come back to me year after year. A rep's car's done too many miles for my customers. So I sold it to the trade. London. Mind you, I gave it a good overhaul first.
Well, that's excellent.
Policy, Mr. Stopes, policy. Guarantee your cars and people come back to you.
Yes. Did you, by any chance, detect an engine knock?
No, I didn't, and I'll tell you for why. Because I never let a car leave my garage unless it's mechanically sound.
You would swear to that?
If I had to, yes. Mind you, what's happened to it since, I wouldn't be prepared to swear to at all.
Thank you, Mr. Rutter.
Not at all.
I think I understand you.
Yes, Mr. Stopes, I rather think you do.
Oh, I'm going to have a proper drink.
Not till it's all over, Bob.
Yes, you're right. God, I'm nervous.
All you have to do is tell the truth.
I told the truth last time.
Not all.
Oh, for God's sake, don't stop.
Bob,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just keep thinking about all that money. 125 quid.
I wonder how much that Miss Peterson gets.
About half of it, I suppose.
Let's hope she's worth it.
I think she will be. There's one thing written all over her.
What's that?
She hates to lose. Come on, we better go. Audrey. Look, Patsy's here. Now, try and be nice to her, will you, please? Because she's the best chance I've got. Well, hello there, fellas. Hello. Hello, Patsy.
Hello, Mrs. Miller. Hello, Miss Turner. Bob and I are very grateful. Oh, don't worry. It'll be all right. I know it will. Good luck, Bob.
Oh, thanks.
Yes. See you there, then.
See, there's just no point in chasing up Miller's car.
Do you think it had a knock?
Well, I think so, but we can't prove it. Besides, no garage owner is going to admit to selling a car with a knock, particularly that fellow Rutter.
Suppose I'd put him in the box.
He'd have lied his head off.
We could have done with some evidence about that car.
Yes, but I honestly think it would have been a mistake to call him.
Yes, I suppose you're right. That engine knock's the only defense I've got.
It didn't work in the lower court.
I think it might this time.
Well, Harriet.
Hello, Charlie.
At it again, are we?
Do you know my instructing solicitor, Mr. Stokes?
Of course, we're old friends. You're going to make me work today, are you?
I hope so.
Is that your lady over there?
Yes.
Who's she got with her?
Well, the one in the middle's my solicitor, Stones.
No, the other one on the wing.
That'll be the bloke for the other side.
Well, I shouldn't be laughing like that. Not now. It's as if they were friends.
Well, they probably are.
Well, that's not right, Bob.
It's just a job to them.
Well, like a game or something. It's not a game to us.
Ah, it's a waste of bloody time. Better than driving. Oh, that's true.
All right for you, Sarge, but it was my day off.
Taking a bird out, were you?
I was, till this came up.
Oh, ram.
Bloody motorists. Think their sterling must then start belly aching when they get done. Wait till I get in that box.
Watch it.
If you think I'm going to let him get away with it.
Belt up. Good afternoon, miss.
Oh, hello.
I do. Witness for the Miller appeal, are you?
That's right.
Well, come and sit down. You shouldn't have too long to wait. They've just started.
Is there somewhere where I could have a wash?
Aye, through there, love. Don't worry, you got plenty of time. Bloody roll on.
Bit of all right, wasn't she?
Do you ever think of anything else?
Call Sergeant Barker.
Aye, that's me. Now listen, you. Don't try and be clever. We don't need it.
Sergeant Barker?
You know, I've been thinking. Remember that bastard said in the magistrate's court that he had an engine knock?
Yes?
Well, I saw my speedometer. I know he was doing over 80, and I mean to make it stick. If he wants an engine knock, I'll give him one.
75 to 83 miles an hour, you say?
Yes, miss.
Could you hear his engine?
No, miss.
Not at all.
At that speed, you have the windows up, miss. You have to.
Suppose Mr. Miller's car had had an engine knock, which has been described as a sound like a jumbo jet.
Won't make any difference, miss. We still wouldn't have heard it.
Do you seriously expect the court to believe you can hear nothing when you overtake, no matter how loud it is? $75 to 85 miles an hour?
83, miss.
Quite right. I beg your pardon, 83. Could you hear his engine?
Yes, miss. I think I did.
Really? Even at the speed you were traveling?
It was very loud, miss.
Unusually loud?
That's right, miss. As though he had an engine knock.
May we hear Mr. Miller's statement again?
He said, "Oh, Christ, I thought they were after that bloody Lancia."
Go on.
Sorry, miss?
Please finish the statement.
That's all there is, miss.
Are you sure?
Quite sure, miss.
He didn't say, but I couldn't have been doing 75. I get an engine knock when I reach 68.
Not to me, miss.
You're quite sure?
Positive, miss.
How much have you discussed this case with Sergeant Barker and P.C. Dean?
I haven't discussed my evidence with anyone, miss.
Why did you hesitate? Come now, Constable. The magistrates' court heard the case. You all three gave evidence. There has since been a lapse of 6 weeks. During all that time, you've known there was to be an appeal, and you never discussed it.
No, miss.
Not even once.
Well, we might have just mentioned it.
Including what Mr. Miller said to you?
I couldn't be certain.
You couldn't be certain whether you did or didn't?
Yes, miss. I mean, that's right.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. I call Patricia Turner.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Your name is Patricia Turner?
Yes.
And you live at 29 Myrtle Grove, Heathfield?
Yes.
Speak up, Miss Turner. There's no need to be nervous.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. Miss Turner, where were you on Monday, February 7th, between 3 and 4 p.m.?
I was with Mr. Miller in his car.
Where, precisely?
On the M87.
Was Mr. Miller exceeding the speed limit?
Well, the police said he was.
I'm asking you, Miss Turner.
Well, I didn't look at the speedometer, but it certainly didn't seem like it. And anyway, he couldn't have been.
Why not?
Because Mr. Miller said that if he took his car above 68, it made a noise like a jumbo jet.
And did you hear a noise like a jumbo jet?
No, it was just the normal engine.
All the time?
All the time.
Thank you, Miss Turner.
Miss Turner, why didn't you mention this when Mr. Miller was charged?
Nobody asked me.
Not even Mr. Miller?
Mr. Miller was too upset to ask anybody anything.
But he did tell you about the engine knock.
Oh, yes.
Before he was charged?
Yes.
It wasn't at some later date?
No, it was while we were in the car.
I suggest Mr. Miller never mentioned it to you at all until after the magistrate's court.
Well, I'm sorry, that's wrong.
You're a friend of Mr. Miller's?
In a way. We worked on the same job.
A good friend?
Yes.
You'd like to help him, in fact?
Only by telling the truth.
Thank you, Miss Turner.
The evidence of speed rests solely upon the testimony of Sergeant Barker and P.C. Dean. Barker, the driver of the police car, not only says that the speed varied between 75 and 83 miles an hour, he also maintains that when his car is traveling at speed, no sound from outside the vehicle can be heard. Dean, on the other hand, Barker's passenger, is certain noise outside the vehicle can be heard. And very conveniently, you may think, he heard the knock of Mr. Miller's car, having previously denied all knowledge of this in the magistrate's court. If on such a crucial point the prosecution witnesses cannot agree, is it safe to rely upon their other evidence? The onus is on the prosecution to establish guilt. If their evidence is unsatisfactory, if, in your opinion, it stops short of certainty, that is enough. It is my submission that I have established more certainty about doubt than the prosecution has about guilt.
I agree with you, Miss Peterson. The evidence is unsatisfactory. The evidence on both sides is unsatisfactory. Reluctantly, we must conclude that it would be unwise to convict. The appeal is allowed. But we will make no order for costs in this case.
The court will now rise.
Very nice, Harriet. Very nice indeed.
Better luck next time.
Mrs. Miller, I'd just like to say thank you.
No costs. This is costing me 125 quid. You certainly have to pay for justice.
That wasn't justice, Mr. Miller. We got you off.